Oops, I think I've got my speakers muted. There, that's better. Um, all righty. Okay, so we're here to take any questions this morning that you have on anything uh, having to do with educational technology and remote online instruction or temporary remote instruction at the district, Canvas, Zoom, anything else that comes up. So I'll help in any way I can. So let's get started with a good question. Remember, there are no bad questions.
Hi, Dave. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great.
My name is Robin. I sent you the text
I see that.
this morning. Okay, so I don't know if this is a good workshop for me at this time or not, but I've been emailing students in my inbox
Right.
in Canvas, and I've been sending them homework that way. I'm actually typing up the homework that's in the workbook because not all the students do have a workbook at home.
Bless your heart.
And then I send it to them. So I've been told, though, that I'm level 2 ESL. So I've been told by a coworker that when the students receive the emails through the inbox, that way it's more difficult for them to know what it is when they try to open it up, because there's a lot of jibber jabber apparently before it gets to the actual email. I don't know if that's true or not.
It just says that it's from your course in Canvas, but other than that, not so much. No, it's. Let me see if I have a message that came through from Canvas to me.
And I have a second question. The training,
please.
Does this count towards the training for the 20 hours Canvas?
Nope, sorry. That's
okay. No, that's okay.
An instructor moderated online, fully online session. Certainly you can ask questions about anything you're trying to do in that course, but it's not part of the 20 hours. No, you still have and the 20 hours is just an estimate. Okay. You have a certain number of tasks to perform and so on. The world's record on that course is 8 hours in one day. Okay. That was a fairly experienced online instructor.
Sure.
And this was back when we were using Blackboard instead of Canvas, so it should be possible to do it even faster now because Canvas has a much better interface. But it typically takes somewhere between about 15 and about 25 hours.
Okay, so that's guided, I guess. Is that true?
Self-paced, but you'll get grading feedback from the online learning pathways staff and so on as well.
Okay, so I will find out more about that because I have signed up for the course.
Excellent.
But and I do have a Canvas shell that I look at.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure if I'm doing things correctly or not.
Well, this sort of forum is a great way to see. There's it's been in use. That course has been in use for a while, so there's a lot of descriptive information about how to get started and how to submit assignments and things like that. That it's they've just provided a massive amount of information. Okay. There is a fair bit of reading, and the assignments usually just take minutes to complete each.
Okay.
They're fairly simple, but the reading and the viewing of videos and things like that takes a while.
Hey, I'm finally now I can hear Dave, but now I can't see him, so I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm hearing you fine, Tessie. Are you hearing me?
I do hear you now. I can't see you, Dave. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I did something.
Anyway, Well,
I'll keep playing
you'll
around
just
until I
you
find it.
probably have minimized the Zoom window. It's probably down in your taskbar at the bottom of the screen. If you look for the little Zoom camera icon at the bottom, you may see us now, or see me, since I'm talking right now. But you've got your audio sorted out, so that's a big step.
Yeah, I got the audio. Now I just gotta get back to you. But anyway, I will. I'll keep playing with it till I get it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I see some. I see it. I see it right now. I see
Good.
it right there. There he is.
All right. Very good.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Bye.
Excellent. All right. Yeah, it's easy to accidentally minimize that Zoom window, and it goes down into an icon in your taskbar or your what do they call it on the Mac, the desktop down there at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
So it's easy to lose that. The audio is the hard part, though.
Yeah, I got it. Thank
It
you.
usually is with media.
Yeah, I kept on until I got it. Yeah.
Oh, good.
And thank you so much
Okay,
for the
a
video you
couple
sent.
of good questions to start with. I'll be happy to, to give a brief overview of anything that you need. Yes, Tessie.
Well, I told you I had signed up. I got in and signed up for the certification for the program for the 20 hours. And so then I wrote introduction of myself. But then I wasn't really sure how I go, but do I just put it into a margin? I do everything into the margin one. Like introduce yourself and what else it was?
Were you able to get past the first module?
No, that's it. I'm still on module one. It's like I get to do this.
Let's
and I
take a
know what
brief.
to do.
Let's take a brief look at that. And we've got someone else who's getting ready to start that as well. That'll be a good thing to look at. Sharing my screen here. Let me find that course. The new one. That's the
There it is.
Here's the. This is what the course should look like in your dashboard. That's the current semester or current year's course.
Right, I got that.
And let me go to a student view here because I'm in as the.
Are these students up here for the practice course shell and all those questions? Oh, announcement, that's what it was.
I'm sorry?
Nothing, I see it.
Oh, okay, good.
Sorry.
Not at all. Okay. So this is what it looks like when you first go in. This is the home page of the course. You get some announcements up here, but here's how you get started. You've already seen the announcements. There's a welcome letter that gives you a bunch of information. And it's not too long. And then you can back up on that. It's nice that you can use the back button on the web browser in Canvas, usually, without any trouble. Blackboard would freak out when you did that. Then there's a syllabus. It's quite a bit more detail.
Right.
Here we go. And then a list of all the assignments, all the gradable activities. Yeah. So you can always check here to see if you've missed anything. But the real starting point is this point right here, where you just begin module one.
Module one, okay.
Or you can just go to the modules link over here in the course menu and get to the same place.
Okay.
But the first thing you notice is that all the other modules disappear when you, except for the first module.
Right.
So basically you have to read every one of these things.
Right. I did.
It keeps
Gotcha.
track. If you don't go into every one of them, it won't let you go forward, which is
Okay.
an interesting technique you may want to consider for your own students.
Yeah.
But the things that are really critical here, of course, are the assessments.
Okay.
And here's the icebreaker, which you say you've already done. And then there's the module 1 assignment, which gives you a bunch of information, but about what you're to do here. But here's the actual assignment instructions. A lot of this is just housekeeping kind of stuff.
Okay.
That
First assignment.
there's not really anything to submit and for part of it. But then it says click the text entry button to open and answer the following questions in a couple of sentences. And here's how to resubmit. So in order to get started actually doing this, you click on submit assignment, which is a little confusing because wait a minute, I'm not ready to submit I haven't put anything in yet. How can I submit the assignment? Well, this is where you get the option to put things in. Here's your text entry box, and this is where you type in order to answer the questions.
Okay. Yeah, I got that.
Okay. That's a little confusing. But once you do it the first time, of course, I'm just going to cancel out of that. They don't need any test student submissions here. And then you can always either go back to the modules tool and just pick up where you left off.
Okay.
Or you can just hit the next button at the bottom right of the screen.
Okay.
Okay, that's something that Canvas generates automatically. Your students will have that when you create your modules too.
Okay.
They'll be able to go into a module and then just keep working through the module without having to keep stepping back to the modules tool to figure out where they were. So here's a quiz, and here's some instructions and information about it. But then to take the quiz, you just click on this Take the Quiz button. And it is, let's see what this one looks like. It is,
Yeah, I did that.
looks like it's all objective. Yeah. So, you just pick the right answer by clicking on the little button. Here to ask you if you changed your Canvas password, which is a really good idea because your birth date is not a secure password. There's probably way too many people who know that. Or who could find it out, Facebook and all that, So then this is, I love these. This is a multiple drop down.
Yeah.
You get to, that's how it's like a multiple choice question, but it looks sexier.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Sexy test questions, indeed. Speaking of which, I just posted a tutorial on how to add images to your test questions in Canvas, both to the question text and to the possible answers, like in a multiple choice question. An art instructor had that question. So you just go through. I don't think. They show you time elapsed, but there's no time limit on this quiz. You can take as long as you like. Canvas will help you keep track here of which questions you've answered, just in case you forget one. And indeed, when you go to submit, if you haven't answered a question, Canvas will remind you and say, whoop, you didn't answer question 2.
Okay.
You didn't mean to answer. If you gave up on question 2 and didn't want to answer it, that's fine. But anyway, that's the process for submitting a quiz. And once you submit that quiz, your next module should show up automatically in the modules tool. Of course, I haven't done that yet, so it's not going to let me move on. But this should automatically show up when you finish the first one. And you just, like in any Canvas course that's well designed, and this one is well designed, I can say that because I didn't design it. But a lot of effort and thought went into this training course.
Yes.
Over many months. Basically, all you have to do is go into the modules and start at the top and keep working until you get to the bottom of the last module, and you then are done.
Oh,
So
thank you so much.
it's designed to be easy to navigate
Okay.
and to be set up so that you don't have to wonder what to do next. When you get through with something, you don't have to wonder what to do next. So that's just a brief introduction to how to get started in that course. Like I say, it takes somewhere between 15 and 25 hours to do it. And you tend to speed up as you go along, though the assignments do get a little more complex as you get into some of the later modules and so on. They give you a little bit more complex work. But by the time you get done, you'll have done the best possible thing you can to prepare for teaching online, which is to take a good online course yourself. That is the best possible preparation for teaching online. And you'll learn enough about online pedagogy and about the mechanics of Canvas to have an idea of what you want to do with your own students and what parts of that make sense in your subject area, and how you can engage with your students online and provide them what they need to actually gain the instructional benefit out of it. Okay, let me see.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
This is Carol Cook, and
Hi, Carol.
How are you this morning?
Wonderful. How are you doing? Hope everybody's safe and happy.
So far, but I am stuck on module 2.7. I've done the video, I've done from the YouTube page, but I'm stuck. I don't know how to get it into the page into my module.
Okay, let's look at that one. Captioning a video with YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep.
Let's see.
Create your video, caption it, create a new thread with the link to your recording. So what this is a discussion forum.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to go a ways down. There's a lot of information at the top here.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay, all that's information. But this is at heart a discussion forum. So what they're asking you to do basically is just do a reply to this, and this is kind of in an odd place, but basically you just click reply here,
Mm-hmm.
and you paste your YouTube video URL right here maybe with some explanatory text or not. I mean, just the URL is what they're looking for. So they can go to the video and verify that you captioned it and that you edited the captions and so on. So all you do is go to YouTube and find your video. Say, this is that tutorial I just put online.
Yeah.
And go to the share button underneath the video on the right, and just get that that URL, the share URL, copy that to your clipboard, and then go back to Canvas and just paste that in right there. That's all you got to do.
Oh, I think I did that because I put the YouTube video inside of it because I even got a page And
or you could embed it here. That'd be fine. This is just the minimum to do. Let me look. This is discussion forum. Capturing a video with you. Come on. Sorry. Waiting on Canvas. We'll find that forum. There it is. And let's go look. I'll scroll down and here. Let's see. There's a lot of posts here.
Yes.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. To save a little time, I'm going to take this off my screen and I'm going to go into the grade book and look for it. That'll be quicker.
Okay.
I've
already got the video, but the one that you just showed with the guy, whatever his name is, explaining how to do that.
Yeah.
Somehow I got him into my page, into my video, into the module, and I want to take him out. I don't know how to erase that. I don't know how to erase him, how to get him out of there.
That would require editing the video.
Okay.
And there's not really a great way for you to do that. The YouTube has a very minimal video editor, but it's lame enough. It's really not worth taking the time to learn, I don't think. And that's really probably beyond the scope of this course. Now, I am going to be, if you're really interested in that sort of thing, I'm going to be holding a Camtasia seminar later on this month that mostly will consist of how to edit videos, because that's the thing that Camtasia does so well. This is Camtasia right here, by the way, that you're seeing, so that I just uncovered. But that's not something I would not worry about that, Carol, for now. But I can help you with that. If that video is something you actually want to use later, I can help you.
I don't want to use his. I don't want to use his video. I want to use the video that I got from YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And I already got that in there.
Good.
But I wanted to get his video out. I don't need it. I don't want it.
Let me take a look at it. I'm pulling it up right now. Let's see. Discussion. Oh, no. Carol, I'm not seeing any submission by you.
I haven't submitted. I haven't submitted because I can't get past this video of him.
Oh, okay.
If I do, I submit all of it.
Okay, why don't you email me the link to that video, and I'll take a look at it, and maybe I'll be able to help.
Okay, all right, I'll do that. Okay,
Please.
thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I just wanted to make sure that you were not hung up there. So I'll take a look at it and see what you need to do to get going. All righty, let me see. Oh, Kathy, you had a question about being locked out of quizzes. Hopefully you're not being locked out of quizzes. Kathy Harlow, that was. Is Kathy there? She's still with us, but I'm not hearing from her right now.
Well,
so let me take.
my mic was off.
Yes, That Kathy.
Kathy.
Yeah, we do have two Kathys online, so I just noticed that. That's why I figured I'd better
Okay.
clear.
So I have two sections of the same class. I wrote a test. I exported it, imported it into the other class. Went back to the other class to do, I wanted to do more editing for probably the 20th time. And it locked me out. And it said I was locked out because a student had already taken the test. And I went, well,
Right.
I have never published it. So how in the heck did a student take it? So I went into the grade book to see if there were any grades. And there were no grades. And so I went back and tried again to get in. I couldn't get in. So I Googled this problem. And all I got was a whole lot of negative comments about Canvas. And this being a problem with Canvas, that every once in a while this happens.
Let me take a look at that quiz. What's the CRN of the course where the quiz is misbehaved?
Hang on just a second. It's 24932. Oh, but wait, Dave. So
Yes.
what I did to resolve the problem was I imported the other course, which didn't have that problem, imported that quiz over and erased the one that had the problem.
Okay, and that
So
worked?
one had the problem, the other didn't, and I don't
Right.
understand that either. So in other words, the one that had the problem is gone, thank heavens.
Okay, so there's nothing to look at there.
There's nothing to look at.
Yeah, well, that's the thing I probably would have tried first too, is to just delete the quiz and re-import it.
Right.
And because something may have happened during the import.
So could something happen when I go into preview?
Now,
I
no,
didn't-
you're not writing to the quiz when you do that. You're just looking at it. So that shouldn't cause any problems with it. So when you first, but if the quiz were copied, well, no, it shouldn't matter if the quiz is copied after somebody takes it, because the student data doesn't come over. It just sounds like there may have been some corruption of the quiz file when it came over from one.
Oh, but the corruption was on the one I exported from. After I exported. See, I'd already exported, gotten it in the other section. I went back to it, did some editing, and then I went to the other one and did the same editing. Then I came back to it, and that's when I got locked out.
That's when you got locked down.
Yeah. Okay.
You did what you did about the only thing.
Right, I solved the problem.
Which is to delete it and copy it back. I see what you mean.
Right.
Yeah, because something, it got corrupted somehow.
Okay. So if I hadn't had it in another course, however, in another
You would have had to
section,
recreate it.
I would have had to recreate it. Now, that's my next question. How do you save a test? Like you think it's pretty good, and you want to put it somewhere to save it, and I guess you'd put it in your question bank, right? How do you do that?
Okay. Excuse me. Let's find a quiz, not necessarily a great one, just a quiz that will do it. And I tell you what, we're starting to get a little background noise, Kathy. So I'm going to mute. Not from you.
Oh.
Not from you. But I'm going to mute everybody and then ask you to unmute yourself again. Okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. There we go.
All right.
So let's go to a quiz here in one of these courses. The first thing you'll have to do is export the quiz from your course.
All right. Yeah.
So let me just pick a quiz here at random. It's got 13 questions in it. That's a good. So that looks, I'm just going to look at it to make sure it's Yeah, that looks fine. All right. What we're going to do, though, then is go to Settings in the course menu. This is where you do most of your course management and importing, exporting, things like that. And you'll export course content.
Right.
And when you export course content, you're given two choices, either the entire course or quizzes.
Right.
Because they figure you're more likely to export quizzes than probably anything else. So they give you that as a separate option. And when you select quizzes, you then get to decide which quizzes to export.
Right.
You can export them all, or you can pick any ones that you like. Where was that one? Oh, it doesn't matter which one is which. So you pick the quiz that you want to export and say create export, then click create export.
Right.
That usually only takes a few seconds for a single quiz.
Right.
And then a new export appears in the list here. I've exported stuff from this course several times. So those exports remain there for, I think, 30 days. And then they go away. You just have to export them again if you wanted to do that. It's no big deal. But here's the thing I just did. Here's the thing I just exported. So I click that link, the name of that, and that's a link. And now I can download the export file to my local computer. I think I have a file for that. Canvas course exports. Okay. Oh, well, I've done this one before, apparently. So I'll just save that. Yes, I'll replace that. All right, so now I have that quiz in a zip file on my local hard drive, but I can't really use that file for anything except for importing it back into Canvas. So I can do that. Let me go pick another course here. I've got a sandbox here somewhere I just use for junk stuff like this. There we go. And let me make sure I haven't already imported that quiz. So nope, that quiz is not there. So to import that quiz into another course and to get it in the form, also at the same time, get it in the form of a question bank.
Right.
Now, you could just, at this point, you could just hold on to that zip file if you don't need it right now. Just put it in a folder where you won't lose it. Maybe you might rename the file to remind yourself of what it was and what you're planning on doing with it. But just make sure it stays, you don't change the extension, the .zip extension, because the Canvas will need to know it's a zip file. But if you need it right away in another course, you can go to that course and do import course content. And you want to select qti.zip file as the content type, because that is the file export format that Canvas uses when it exports a quiz.
Right.
Same one Blackboard uses, by the way. So this gives us some, this was very handy during the time we were moving content over from Blackboard, because we could export quizzes from Blackboard and import them into Canvas as easily as we could import them into another Blackboard system. So it's a qti.zip file. We just choose the file that we want to import. We have to go find where we put it, which gets harder every year. Let's see, this is the one I just did because that's today's date. I go ahead and click open just to tell Canvas that's the file I want. I don't have to select a question bank here. I can just import this. And you get a new job here. I've done this a couple times before in this course, and just that quick, it's in the new course. There'll be a quiz by that name in here. That's the one we just imported, but there also should be a question bank. We go up here to the right, upper right, to that stealthed menu up there that doesn't have any labels, and click Manage Question Banks. There's that quiz as a question bank.
Oh, so it's
now
right in the course.
I'm sorry?
It's right inside the course.
Yeah, it's right
And
inside.
so is it right inside the one I exported it from? Is that question there?
It's there as a quiz. It may not be there as a question bank.
Because if it were there as a question bank, then I could have gone back to the question bank and grabbed it.
Right.
I had the problem.
Yeah, but you can't export question banks. You can export quizzes,
Oh.
but you can't export question banks. There's no option to do that, which is kind of strange. But that's the way it works. So, and it's a quirk in the interface or in the process, that when you import that QTI zip file that you got when you exported the quiz from the other course, it goes both into the test banks and into the quizzes. But that's a way for you to get those questions stored as a test bank, so you can use them in creating new tests later on.
In that course or in a different course?
Well, in whatever course you import that QTI.
Okay, so if you had a brand new course and you wanted to grab some questions from this quiz, you could import this quiz into that course and then work with it.
Correct.
Okay.
And you'd have both a quiz and a question bank.
Okay.
That same
All
thing.
right. And the question bank can always be found up on the right-hand side next to the three dots
Right.
next to.
It's in the quizzes tool.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Up here. Oh,
Right.
I tell you what, that may be hiding underneath something for you. Just a second.
No, I
It's
moved
right
something,
here.
so I see it now. Yeah. Okay.
It's right there.
Yeah.
That was probably the thing I looked for the longest when I was just trying to figure stuff out in Canvas.
Right,
When
yeah.
I started working with it, finding the question, I eventually had to Google it to find them.
Wow.
But it works.
Yeah.
That process, by the way, what we just did, exporting a question bank and then importing it, or exporting a quiz, and then importing it as both a quiz and a question bank, is part of the process that a number of you have asked about in the past. I don't know if any of you here today have or not, but it is possible, if you have tests in Word format or any word processor format, say question banks or test banks that you were provided by a publisher in the form of Word documents. And I know publishers used to do that all the time. A little less so now, but you still may find somebody doing that. Or maybe you have old tests that you've typed in Word that you printed out and used in class. There is a process that you can use to import those Word tests into Canvas. It's like a 9-step process, but it really doesn't take that long to do, and it uses this import-export process. It also uses a free Blackboard account that you can make, because the early part of the process is designed to import stuff into Blackboard. So what you have to do is import the word test into Blackboard first, and then export it from Blackboard and import it into Canvas. But even with all that, it's a lot, especially if it's like a 100-question multiple choice final or something like that. It's a lot faster than retyping it or copy pasting the questions into Canvas. So we do have a tutorial up for that now.
Oh, there is. Okay, I'd like to, because I found a test bank that would be
Oh,
really
cool.
helpful. But it's
It
in
was,
Word.
it's in Word format?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can do that. Let me show you where that is. It is in our on-demand video site.
Uh-huh.
If you just search for word test, there it is.
Great.
And let me put the address in the chat window. Okay, that's in the chat tool. And hopefully everybody remembers you can save the chat log at any time. In the lower right-hand corner of the chat window, there's a little menu icon, 3 horizontal dots. And there's an option under there to save the chat that saves to a folder named Zoom in your default document folder that's automatically created when you do this. So you can find that link there. And don't be intimidated by the process. It's actually, well, the tutorial showing you how to do it is less than 15 minutes long.
Okay.
And that's with all the talking. So the only real well, I won't say hard part, but the time-consuming part of the process is reformatting the word test. It depends on how they formatted it to start with, but the process requires a test formatted in a very specific way. So like your multiple choice questions, the question text has to be on one line and then each of the answers on separate lines, and there can't be any blank lines in between and things like that. So you may have to take out some blank lines and move stuff around, but maybe not. It's actually a fairly common way of typing tests in Word. So hopefully it will work for you. Let me know if you have any issues with it.
Great, thank you. That's very helpful. I just found those banks yesterday, and they
Cool.
They
That's
were
timely.
really helpful. Yeah.
Well, I will save you. And once it's gold once you get it into Canvas, because you can always copy it from course to course. So you can have those forever. Just
And there is
moving
no
them.
limit to the size. I mean, one of the chapters has 89 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, it's big. And the next one is 100 pages.
Cool. If it's convenient and you don't mind, would you mind sending me one of those Word files? I'd love to have that as an example.
Sure.
To illustrate the process.
Attach it to your email, huh?
Yeah, just one of them is fine. You don't have to send the whole thing.
All right.
Whatever's more convenient. Okay. Next question. Don't see anything we haven't taken care of in the chat tool yet. So.
Can I chat?
You certainly can.
Can you hear me over?
I hear you great. And communication discipline not necessary in Zoom. It's a very natural communication.
That's nice. Good morning.
Good morning.
In a previous, you had said that we could use Zoom for our own, it didn't have to be for school.
I don't see why it would be a problem, because you're not costing the state any money.
Is it the same website, or do we request a different one?
No, you can just use the same account. The state doesn't pay for usage on Zoom. It just pays for each account. So you can use the account as much as you like and in any way you like, and it's not going to cost the state any extra money. So I don't see any problem with it.
So,
you could always make yourself a free Zoom account for personal use.
okay.
And I've done that in a few cases where I wanted to use use it in ways that would not have been compatible with the with it being a Confer Zoom account. But I used to use my district Zoom account all the time to talk to a friend in Georgia every week and things like that. Didn't cost the district anything.
How do I let my friend in Georgia know how to use my Zoom?
Well, you're welcome to send them links to any of our tutorials on how to join a Zoom meeting. For instance, we've got one on how to join a Zoom meeting from a computer and a mobile device and all that stuff. And then what I would do is just send them my personal meeting room join link. Let me pull that up. Oops, that's not the one I want. Let's see. Let me get to the actual Zoom website here. Come on. Zoom. Well, it's not going to do that, so let me encourage it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to sign in as me here. So you sign in, and it gives you, now it'll give you information about your account. This is also where you can change settings and make it more secure, things like that. We just did a seminar the other day on enhancing Zoom security, dealing with things like Zoom bombing and things like that. And you're welcome to make use of those tutorials any way you like. But to get your personal meeting room link, you just go to the meetings tab, which is where you're automatically dropped in. You click personal meeting room, and this is your link right here. It may be longer or shorter than that, depending on whether it has a password embedded in it or not.
Okay.
And you just send that in an email to your friend, and all they'll have to do to join your meeting is just I'm getting a little background noise again. I tell you what, I'm going to mute everybody again, but just unmute yourself to start talking again. Just cutting the background noise down. Useful technique in Zoom. If things get a little noisy, if you have multiple people in, we have 8 people in the meeting right now. If you have multiple people in, the microphones can be very sensitive. And sometimes it's necessary to just mute everybody and then let them unmute themselves. Let the people who need to talk unmute themselves. But anyway, that's the join URL. You send that to your friend. They just click on that link right in the email, and Zoom will automatically load the client for them and will walk them through the process of joining the meeting. But you're more than welcome to send our Zoom join tutorial. Join Zoom. Which is this one. I'll put that link in the okay, Kathy, good luck. I just put the link to that, the direct link to that in the chat tool, so you can just send them that link too, and they can see how it works to get into a Zoom meeting. That's all they need to know. After that, all they have to do is be able to talk. It's a lot more fun if they have both a webcam and a microphone, which if they're joining from a laptop or a mobile device like a smartphone or an iPad or an Android tablet, they'll already have. Desktop computers may or may not have webcams and microphones at this point in time. So, yeah, it's a terrific way to keep in touch.
Oh, thank you. So that, because I had forgot about that. on-demand page? Is that where they're storing all of your videos, like you were just saying, since I missed one?
Yep.
How to beef up my security.
Yep. Sure enough. Let me put that in the chat tool as well. On-demand video site. Yeah. Oops. There's a T in that word. The URL is right up here at the top. sdccdolvid.org is all you have to type in on the web browser to address line to get to it.
Okay.
And just press enter, and that's in the chat tool now.
Okay.
But all the seminar recordings, including this one, within the next day or two, will be under Workshop Archives up here at the top. There's a little set of menus on stuff you can access here, and there's the Workshop Archives. I've got them in there through the 20th, or the 17th. I haven't done any in the last couple of days, so this is the next one that'll go up there.
Okay.
But these are all 2 hours plus, but you can fast forward through them and try to, and you can sort of see. Let's see, the one on, and here's the one on Zoom meeting security.
Okay.
And you can just, you can just fast forward through it and kind of see what's going on and kind of pick out where you want to start watching. It was, with questions, it was almost 3 hours long, so you probably don't want to watch the whole thing. But you certainly can if you want to.
Yeah. Thanks.
You bet.
As always. Thank you. Thank you.
That's what we're here for.
Okay.
Okay, stop. I don't want to. I'm talking to the machine, not to you. Talking to the computer. I don't want that to play right now. And there we go. All right. All right. How about some more good questions? Or all questions are good. That's what we're here for. Anything, Canvas, Zoom, something you want to do on your computer that might help your students, anything like that.
Dave, this is Carol Cook again.
Hello, Carol.
Hello. I would still like to know how, I just accidentally went up on finding how to add a page. And I don't know how I did it. So if you
I know that feeling.
I was just punching all kind of buttons, and all of a sudden it came up, and I just, oh, okay, good. So that's how I don't know how I put that video in my Canvas.
I can relate to that. Many a time I fixed something and not been able to figure out how I did it.
Yes, and that's where I am. That's why I'm stuck on 2.7.
That's no problem at all. Let's go to this sandbox course I've got here and go into the modules. I like to make stuff, pages, quizzes, upload files, assignments, things like that from the modules tool. There are other ways to do it in the course menu, but if you do things like this from the modules tool, you turn a two-step process for you into a one-step process. Because if you like make a page in the pages tool over here, you then have to go back to the modules tool and link the page into the module. If you just make the page from the modules tool, you make it and you link it in one operation.
Okay.
And
how do I make the page in the module?
Being lazy, I like to do it that way. So you find the module you want to put the page into. You may have to make a new module if it's something new. But if not, let's say we're going to put it into this first module here. To add anything to a module, you go to the name of the module and you go across to the right and find that plus sign. And that's your Add Item to Module button. And the first thing you're asked is, what do you want to add to the module? And you have to pick that from a menu. And the menu, one of the menu options is to add a Canvas page, which, remember, is just a document, a web page that you create inside Canvas instead of uploading it from your local computer where you created it offline. So it's your other major option for putting content into Canvas, other than uploading files that you've already created. So we just select Page. And since this is a new page, we tell Canvas New Page. We click on the words New Page. And Canvas then asks us to name the page. I'll just call it Page for Carol. And that's really all you have to do. I wouldn't worry about indenting things at this point and so on. Just name the page and add the item. That puts a link to a blank page into the module. There's nothing there yet. We haven't added anything to it. There couldn't be. It's just a blank page. But now we can take care of that by clicking on the name of the page. We don't want to publish it yet because there's nothing in it. So we edit the page. And now we can add content to it. We can type. Add pictures using the Embed Image tool. Usually you're going to upload the picture to Canvas from your local hard drive. So you pick the second tab here, the Canvas tab. I don't particularly like this part of the Canvas interface because I can't remember the last time I just linked to a picture out on the web, which is the default option. Because who knows, it's liable to just vanish someday. There'll be a hole in your Canvas page. So I'm going to upload the file to Canvas, probably to the Canvas course files. And you have to tell Canvas where you're going to put this image. Normally it's in course files. And then your little upload file button pops up. You click that. We'll find a picture here. Give it some alt text for blind students. It's a birthday cake. Click update. Whoa, that's a big one. Well, if that happens, you just click on it and you make it smaller by grabbing the corner and pulling it in. You can change it. So we can make pictures. We can embed video using the Insert Edit Media tool. And we can just get a YouTube video here. Well, I seem to have one here. That was easy. I didn't even have to go to YouTube and look for that one. I have no idea what this video is. I probably shouldn't do this live, but let's see. We'll assume it's not anything. Oh, okay. It's not anything too embarrassing. Anyway, that's one of my Zoom recordings. That's all there is to sharing your Zoom recordings with your students. So just all the usual stuff you can do in creating a page. And then you save the page, or save and publish if you're ready for it to go. Either one. And now if we go back and look at the module, there it is. So we've created the page and linked it into the module in one operation. And that's how you create a Canvas page and put it into a module. Carol, did that answer your question?
I was gonna say, I think that's a lot easier than what I did. I was just guessing
I know
and pushing keys. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good when you figure it out yourself because you remember it. But if you're not if you're not really sure what worked and what didn't of all the things you tried, that could
Well,
be
why
problematic.
didn't I remember?
Happens to me all the time. Happens to me all the time. Okay, good question. And I'm sure that was useful for everybody else to see too. So, because that's one of the core activities in Canvas is creating pages. All right, how about
Dave,
the next
is
question?
that in one of your recorded videos too? Because I've been going through those recorded
It's
videos.
in a number of them, but probably the best place to go for it would be, I do that in every one of my Canvas overview sessions. But those are 2 hours long before we even get to the questions. So it's finding it's a little bit of a challenge. But I have done a series of basic Canvas tutorials, fundamental things that you just have to be able to do in order, oops, that's not what I wanted to do, in order to be able to use Canvas. And I tried to keep the tutorials as short as I possibly could. Most of them are like under 8 minutes in length, except for the one I'm about to show you, which I couldn't do in less than 17 minutes. I may redo it at some point. But anyway, it's under what I'm calling the broad strokes series, quick Canvas tutorials.
I think I saw that one.
Under LMS tutorials, it's one of the menu options, or you can just type quick Canvas tutorials in the search box and they'll come up. He said. Shoot. Well, it should have come up. I need to check that. Broad strokes, bring it up. And here they are, and there's a adding content to your Canvas course. It's 17 minutes, and it covers creating modules, uploading files, creating pages, adding web links. And what I just did for you is in there almost identical. And you can watch that one anytime. I kind of like the little intro I did for that one. Adding content. I don't usually waste time on little introductory animations and things like that in videos, but that one was, since these were all kind of a branded series, I wanted them to be obvious in that regard. So anyway, and the others may come in handy too, because it's so easy when you're, you have, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, you've had so much information thrown at you about Canvas and Zoom and everything else. And it's real easy to have figured something out at one point and then to just lose it because you're just being inundated. You're drinking from a fire hose with very little time for this to settle into long-term memory. So I try to have something like that so when you forget something that's really basic, you can go back and pick it up in a hurry without having to spend 2 hours going through a recording of one of these Zoom sessions. the Zoom recordings are nice, but Zoom's really better in real time. When we do tutorials that are designed to be used on demand like this, we try to keep them a lot more concise, a lot quicker, so that you don't have to spend a lot of time watching the video. And also because research tells us that by the time your students are 7 minutes into a video, almost all of them have given up on it, have quit watching. So we try to keep them under that if we possibly can. Okay. Oh, got some good questions here.
Okay. Right, number.
Hi, it turns out I can't import my TestGen test bank because a past computer crash changed the formats to read only and they won't export. Shoot. So I made an exam and imported that. Would I be able to mix up the answers in a group of questions without A and B kinds of choices? So you made an exam in TestGen, I'm getting. And you imported that. That's great. Can you mix up the answers without, you can if you choose the shuffle answers option. It doesn't matter whether it's how the choices are, if they're multiple choice questions or multiple answer questions. You can always shuffle the answer, the order in which the answers are provided to students by selecting that option in the quizzes when you're creating the quiz, or you can always go back and edit it later. Let me just pick one of these quizzes at random and edit it.
Except I imported it.
Okay, that shouldn't matter. Once the quiz is in Canvas, you should be able to edit it any way you like.
Remember
Because
you
the
said, oh, so can I refine my question?
Oh, sure.
Remember you said you can't shuffle the answers if some questions have, if D is A and B and E is A, B, and C. So you
Right. In that case, shuffling answers would not be appropriate.
So is there any way to identify a group of questions? I thought if I just shuffle the answers for the first 10 questions, all the rest
unfortunately,
of them
in a Canvas quiz, it's all or nothing with shuffling answers. You either shuffle all of them or none of them.
Okay.
So you just have to go through the quiz and make sure that there weren't any questions in there that had all of the above.
I do. I have a bunch of A and B and A, B, and C.
Yeah, I love that too. So that's why I never shuffle answers. I know I'll forget one, and the student will look at the question and say, "What the heck is this?"
Right.
Yeah, but no, you can certainly go into your quiz after you import it and edit it any way you like. You can edit the questions, because once it's a quiz in Canvas, Canvas doesn't care whether it was imported or you created it there. It's all treated the same.
So last night, there's no universal way. Well, I already asked you this another time. It imported, made them all worth a half a point or something, and I had to manually go in and change every single question's point value.
Yes. I wish I had better news for you on that. The only way in Canvas that you can set question values in an efficient manner, where you don't have to set every one, is to create a question group. And there you can set points per question.
Well, I could have done
for the
that.
whole group. And to use a question, to use a question group, though, you have to have question banks.
Oh, yeah, all right. I can't. Okay.
You can't just say, "Oh, I'd like to make these questions a group." No, it doesn't work that way. Question group is a way to pull questions at random from a question bank.
Okay.
Yeah. So what you could do is make, you could take a quiz that you created and export it as I showed earlier, and then import it. I showed that too. And when you import the quiz as a QTI file, it not only creates a quiz, it creates a question bank. And you can edit your question bank so it just has the questions in it that you want to use.
Wow. Right.
And then
Right.
link to that question bank, link your group to that question bank.
So if the exam that I have in there, if I right now export it and import it back in,
Mm-hmm.
then
You'll
I
have
can
a question bank.
a group of questions that I could shuffle the answers to.
Yep.
When I hit, so if I go to the exam and I hit export, where does it export it to in order to import it back in?
Okay, let's do that. Let's run
Okay.
through that again. This is why screencasting quiz. We'll do this. Okay. It's got 4 questions in it. I'll take out that question group. Don't worry about that right now. Okay. So this is the one I want. So I go to settings. And I export course content. And I can either export the entire course or any selection of quizzes. So I want quizzes in this case, so a quiz in this case. So I'll select quiz, and the default is to export all the quizzes, but I don't want to do that. I'll export the why screencasting quiz. And then create export. Just takes a second in this case because it was a small quiz. And here's my link to download my export file. It's in Canvas right now. But I just click on that link and it allows me to save that to wherever on my local hard drive, wherever I can find it again.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right. So that's the trick. You're going to export and download it to your local hard drive.
Okay.
I think I can remember where I put that. We'll see. So I'm done with this course. Now let me go find another course. Or maybe not. Maybe I want to put this
The same
in,
course,
back
yeah.
in this same course. Okay, good. Now I go to settings. And I do import course content.
Wow, wow, wow. This is so
And
good.
the content type will be qti.zip file. That's the file format for quiz exports and imports in Canvas and Blackboard. So I have to remember where I put that file. This is the hard part. Choose file. I put it in downloads, Canvas course exports, and it's the one I just made. What, it's 420 at 11:18.
Yeah, there.
There it is. 11:19 it was. All right, that's the one I just made. So I click open to select that file. Canvas knows which file I want to import now. You don't have to worry about selecting default question banks or anything like that. You just import. And it takes a few seconds. There, it's completed. Now I go to my question banks, which are under quizzes. And they're under this little menu button up here in the upper right, which is not labeled or just a stealth. And then click Manage Question Banks. And there it is. It says Why Screencasting Quiz. That was the name of the quiz. But it's now a question bank. I could swear that had 4 questions in it. Let's see. Oh, that one's labeled question 4. Okay, so that's 3 questions. But now I can go back and I can remake that quiz. I've got a couple of copies of that quiz now because I just duplicated them. But let's say I want something that I can randomize for students. I'm just going to delete these versions of the quizzes. Nobody's taken them yet anyway. This is a sandbox. So now I'm going to add a quiz. I'll call it the same thing. Why screencasting quiz. And I'd set my dates and things like that down here. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to go right to questions. And instead of creating questions or finding questions and selecting questions individually, I'm going to create a question group. Excuse me. I have to call it something. I'll just call it group 1. And I'm going to link to that question bank I just imported called Why Screencasting Quiz. I just select it and I click Select Bank, the button marked Select Bank. So that now Canvas knows where to pull this from. There were 3 questions in that test, right? So I'm going to tell it to pick all 3 questions. So every student is going to get every one of those questions, but they're going to get them in a different order.
You just missed what you did. You froze for me, and it went out and went back in.
Oh no. Okay. Where did
You
were
on a manage question bank.
Okay.
You had just imported it.
Just imported it as a question bank. Okay. Let me cancel out of this then. We'll start that again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That happens. I understand. I'm just canceling out of that. Okay. And we'll just delete this quiz. Get it out of there so it doesn't confuse us. All right. So you saw that the question bank had come over, right? There it is, with 3 questions in it.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to go back to quizzes. And what I did was go into quizzes after that, and I deleted the quizzes that were in here by that name because I want to remake it in such a way that when the students take this quiz, the questions will be randomized. That is, no 2 students should get them in the same order. Well, with only 3 questions, if I had a bunch of students, that by the laws of probability, some of them would get them in the same order. But you get the idea. If there were 50 questions in the test or something like that, no 2 students would be very likely at all to get them in the same order. But they can't depend on getting them in the same order. They can't call one another and say, what's the answer to question number 3?
Right, that's what I want. Oh my God, that's what I want.
For everybody. Yeah. So now to make that work, I'm going to add that quiz back as, we'll call it Why Screencasting Quiz. And I'll go to the questions tab, and instead of adding new questions or finding questions and picking them out of the test bank manually, I'm going to create a question group. And I have to call it something. I'll call it group 1. And I have to tell Canvas which question bank to pull questions from for this group. So I click on that link, and here's my Why Screencasting Quiz question bank.
Can you just go back one step? What did you just do to get there?
I clicked link to a question bank.
Link to a question bank.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You bet. So I select the question bank, the appropriate question bank, and then click the button that says Select Bank. So now Canvas knows to pull questions for this group from the bank named Why Screencasting Quiz. which I imported. And since there are 3 questions in there, and I want each student to get all 3 of those questions, I just don't want them to be in the same order. I tell Canvas to take all 3 of those questions. And I can set the number of the points if I want to for all 3 of them. And then I just click Create Group. So the entire quiz consists of just a question group. And I save and publish that. And let me edit this quiz and make multiple attempts possible so I can show it to you.
Or just save, right? I don't want to publish it if it's an exam.
Right, save or save and publish, whichever.
Okay.
And now if I go, that's under quizzes, should be there. Yep, there's that quiz. So now if I go in as a student, go to quizzes, there's that quiz. I did publish it. I can go in and I can take that quiz. And there we go. All right, so that switch screencasting tool, here's the, and then the essay questions number 3. Okay, if I just tree this, not answer the whole thing, submit it. Yeah, I know. I didn't answer everything, I don't care. Now, if I go back and I get my feedback, if I go back to quizzes, and I've got this one set up so student can take it any number of times. If I thought I did. Huh. Why are you not letting me do that? Attempt 1. Yeah. I must not have saved that change in the quiz. Let me go back and do that. Try to remember the order they were in there for a second. Sorry. Edit. No, I did not save that. Now I go back and be a student again. Go to student view. Take that quiz. Take the quiz again. Well, it so happens that just by chance they came out in the same order. But if I keep doing this, I will, each different student who takes it will get those questions in a separate order, even though they'll get the same questions. So that's how you can do that. And you can do that with as big a test as you like. It doesn't take any longer to do it with a 100-question final than it does with a 3-question example. So, all righty.
I have a last question.
Go for it.
So if it's echoing. If the exam has already been imported, it's in Canvas. If I export it and import it back in as a test bank, I could then just use the whole exam as the question group. Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Yay!
You just
much.
enter the same number of when it asks you how many questions to pull for each student, you enter the number of questions in the entire test.
Okay.
And it pulls the questions, all of the questions from the question bank, but it presents them in a random order to different students.
Exactly. That's what I want. Because if you see the follow-up of my question says, I have 2 pairs of boyfriend girlfriends.
Yeah.
No, are taking it sitting right next to each other.
You can count on it.
Yeah. So this way, if the questions are in different order, they can't cheat. It's great. Okay.
Well, it makes it a little bit more difficult for them.
Yeah, it makes it harder. Right.
And that's all we can ever do. No matter
Right.
what venue we give the test in.
Excellent.
Oh, good question. Looks like you had a follow on there too, though, about couldn't find a way to share your desktop rather than a particular window in Zoom. And unfortunately, I can't exactly show. I can. Just a second. I can do this. It'll take just a second. Let me get out of this and go. And I'm going to kill my share for a second because I need to be able to get to my share tool. Bring it up. And now I need to capture that in a screenshot because Zoom won't show you what I'm seeing right now when I hit my share button. It's just not designed for that. So I need to make a screenshot of that and save that as Zoom screen share. Okay, now I need to bring up that file. I'll go ahead and share my desktop again. And which is what you want to do rather than sharing individual windows, because I am sure to forget when I share individual windows that, oops, I didn't share the other window that I wanted to. So if you share your desktop, your entire desktop, anything that shows up on your monitor will show up on your attendees' monitors. And let's see, let's leave student.
And then you can switch from one thing to like you could open a page on Canvas.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So let me pull up that graphic that I just made to show you what that looks like, so you can. Let me see. That's in pictures. I'm looking at it on another screen right now. Having multiple screens when you're doing Zoom is convenient. Right. I put that into pictures. Zoom share options. There it is. Okay. In a second. Right now you see a black screen because that's what I'm seeing. All right. Well, this is an older version of the same thing, but it'll work. You'll see when you hit the share button in Zoom, the default is to share your entire screen. This is selected in blue, highlighted in blue. If I just click the share button in the Zoom menu and then click share here, you're going to share your entire desktop. That's the default behavior. Don't go out here and look for another window to share.
Oh.
If you do, that's all you can share until you stop the share and share again. So just take the default here. The default is to share your desktop. Then anything you bring up on your desktop, like this photo, is shared with your students.
Right.
And then you can take it away and share. You can bring up something else. I can bring up a Word document. And now you can see that. So anything I bring up and put on my monitor, your students will be able to see.
Yeah, good.
So that's why I always recommend sharing your desktop instead of sharing individual windows. You've got enough cognitive load on you when you're doing a Zoom class anyway, because you're not just worrying about presenting the materials, you're worrying about Zoom.
Right.
And that's true for me too. I've done certainly in the high, maybe not 1,000, but I've done in the high hundreds of Zoom meetings over the years. And it's still, you have to think about what you're doing. Otherwise, you do something you didn't intend to. Maybe show something you shouldn't have shared. So anything that makes it simpler for you is worth doing. All right. Got another question. I have students with problems uploading their assignments in Microsoft DocX format to Canvas, and others who do not. I asked students with problems to save as a PDF file and try to upload, but they were not able to do it again. Yeah, I doubt seriously that the file format had anything to do with it. It probably had to do with the fact that the student is just having trouble finding the file on their computer and things like that, or they may be finding it on a phone, which is even harder. So, first thing I do is refer them to Canvas's guide on submitting an assignment. You can find that under the Help button in Canvas and by searching the Canvas guides. And here's a search box they put in, and you just submit assignment, type that. And here's how do I submit an online assignment. That's the one they need. So here it is. And it shows them step by step how to submit the assignment. It's a text tutorial, because there's a lot of options in how to submit an assignment, so it gives them all of them. And that is, let me put that in the chat tool. Okay, that's in the chat tool. I'd try that first. If they read that, big if, then they should, if they still have a problem, they should at least have better questions to ask of you, rather than it just doesn't work, or I don't understand, which is difficult to respond to. The process for submitting a document file would be exactly the same as a PDF, unless it's always possible they don't know how to create a document, a Word document or a PDF file from the word processor that they're using. So that's something I'd ask them. Say, well, were you able to create the file in the right format? Or was the problem, and if you were, was the problem with submitting it, or was it with creating the file in the first place? Because sometimes they don't tell you where the problem really was. They just tell you it didn't work. So if you can drill down to see where the problem was, if it's a problem they just don't know how to do this in their word processor, then we got other issues. Probably we can find a direction somewhere online. If it's something like, maybe Apple Pages on a Mac, and they're trying to they're creating their documents in that, and they're trying, because they don't have Microsoft Word on the Mac because it's expensive. Though they can get it for free if they know how to do that as a student, but it's more of a problem for them. Pages probably came on the Mac, so they can submit it, they can create it in Pages, but can't save it as a Word document. Then we look for other tutorials for them. If you can get to the point where you can find out where the problem is, I'll be happy to help you find a a tutorial that will help them. And if we may have to make it ourselves, but I'm always looking for new ideas for tutorials. So if it's something that'll help students, I'm more than happy to make it. So so we'll help any way we can, because these students are doing this for the first, many of them are doing this for the first time too. I got a feel for them. They started out this semester with no idea that they'd ever be taking a class partly online, maybe all online, really. And whatever we can do to help them out, we're delighted to do. So just let me know. Email me and I'll get you. If I need to find you or make you a tutorial, I'll do that. There's not much you can't find online these days in the way of tutorials. Well, okay. Good questions. How about some more?
Okay, I got one.
Good.
I like to start my class with a little smooth jazz.
Ooh, yeah.
It kind of sets a nice mood. So how would I do that here?
Like in Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm letting you. I like it.
Zoom. I don't think Zoom.
Could I go to YouTube? I'm just asking. Go to YouTube as I'm watching you. Go to YouTube, find the page that maybe has the music.
Sure.
Copy the link and put it in.
Well, you certainly copy the link, but you're talking about in a live Zoom session, right? Like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And have a little background music.
Yeah.
Low, but not enough to interfere with hearing, but just low enough to kind of a little mood. Zoom, I don't think, has any option to share the computer sound when we're just talking to one another like this. Okay. You could always just start it playing in the background and your microphone would pick it up. It might or might not come through sounding like anything. Let's try that. Let me just I'll just go to YouTube here and I'll search for some smooth jazz.
Hey now.
As you said, there's a million videos on everything in YouTube. So let's see. I'm just pulling this up offline. Just a second.
And I do the same when I give a quiz. I ask to make sure that the background is gonna, because it's not loud and carrying on. But
I hear you. We probably want instrumental because it's you don't want dialogue distracting them.
No.
Geez, yeah. Here's 2.5 hours of jazz sax.
Okay.
I'll pick that up.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right.
There we go. Are you hearing that?
I am. I'm watching you too. Yeah, you had your shoulders going. So you just, because I'm gonna, I go in and out with the microphone for you. So you just turned it on and then it picked it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
The microphone is picking it up. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit.
Okay.
So that's working pretty well.
Yeah.
And when you're sharing your screen,
yes,
there's an option. Let me bring that screen. I still got that screen share thing up here. Let me do that again. In your
Yeah.
share screen options,
Okay.
there's a box down in the lower left-hand
Okay.
corner of this that says share computer sound.
Mm-hmm.
So now the sound's probably a little better because it's coming directly through the computer rather than going through my microphone.
Mm-hmm.
So, works pretty good.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. That definitely classifies as the most interesting question I've had in the last couple of weeks. Love it. Okay. Great.
You like that yourself, huh?
And that's all recorded, so we'll be able to do that.
Dave, don't you mind to go back to the quiz and show the multiple choices?
Show multiple choice question.
Yeah,
How to
for
create
the quiz. Yes.
how to make a multiple choice
Yes,
question.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Let
thank
me
you
get
so
this
much.
out of the way and find what I did with Canvas here. I've got Canvas open somewhere here. Oh, it was probably over here, wasn't it? Yeah, there's Canvas. All righty, let's just edit a quiz here. I'll go to quizzes. I'll create a new quiz just to make it as simple as possible. And we'll call it unnamed quiz, doesn't matter. I add questions by going to the questions tab. Okay, now this multiple choice question, is it going to be like a brand new question that you're typing right into Canvas?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, to do that, we select add new question from the questions tab. That's how you enter questions from scratch. And the multiple choice is the default option for question type because it's the most common, obviously. You can pick your question, any of these question types, but multiple choice is what we're looking at here. So there it is. So you basically got two things you have to enter. One is the text of the question, and the other is the possible answers, the choices. So I just enter the question. Give me a multiple choice question.
I don't know.
I know, they're hard to write, aren't they?
Yeah.
Easy to grade, but hard to write.
Choose something on your own, Dave.
How about who among these men did not sign the Declaration of Independence? History question. Now we just type in some questions. Well, he wrote it. That's probably a pretty good bet. He did. John Hancock, we know, certainly signed it. Oh, what was his name? I'm taking a shot here. Pretty sure he was one of the signers from Georgia. I spent many years in Georgia. Or well, Well, hopefully they know that Abraham Lincoln wasn't even born yet. So the correct answer here as to who did not sign the Declaration of Independence is Abraham Lincoln. So we click in this column here to indicate that's the right answer.
Yeah.
We can add positive and negative, or well, we can add comments to show them if they get it right, and comments to show them if they get it wrong, or general comments, but usually not. You could always add another answer. If you needed more than 4 choices, you could always add more. A cool thing you can do here with multiple choice questions is you can add graphics to them as well. Like I could go and I could click on this little edit button here for the answer box, and I could put in sorry, I'm pulling something up offline. Well, let's go for, actually, let's go to John Hancock. He's the one everybody knows. There's nothing you can't find online. I'm looking up a picture of John Hancock. There he is. Download his picture. So I can go and I can actually embed an image of John Hancock. If I were being really difficult, I could take out the name and just put the picture in and see if anybody's been reading the book or not and recognize John Hancock. But anyway, you can do all sorts of stuff like that. But basically, you just enter the question text, you enter the possible answers, you tell Canvas the correct answer because it can't know. The day that Canvas can figure that out on its own, we're in trouble because they don't need us anymore. Hopefully, we won't live to see that. You can set a number of points if you like. You can always change that later. And then save it. Oh, shoot. Except I forgot to update the question. That's a common mistake, at least for me. I go back and that question's gone because I didn't save it. So I have to go back in.
Okay, Dave, it's clear. It's clear.
You saw how to do it.
Yeah, it's clear.
What I didn't do was click update question here. Then you save the test. Sorry.
Dave,
Okay.
Again, the button for the image, just quickly.
I'm sorry now?
The little button for the image.
Oh, like if you want to add an image to an answer, you just mouse over the answer box.
Okay.
And you get a little pencil icon out to the right.
Okay.
That's a universal edit symbol. When you click that, you get the full rich content editor instead of just a text box.
Okay, got it.
So you can make these quizzes really just amazing. You put videos in there.
Oh, okay. How can you put
video? Like watch this video and then pick the right answer, you know, or whatever.
Can you show how to insert the video?
I did not. I'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
If you wanted to insert a video into either your question text or your one of your answers or more, all of your answers, you could insert videos into every answer if you wanted to. But
just one. Okay.
if we were going to insert it into the question, we could say something like, watch the following video and then indicate which of the following men signed declaration. So now I could go out and I could find a video on the declaration. Let's go to crash course. That looks like a good one. All right, let's say we want that video.
Hey kids, are you?
We go to share below the video, and we copy the share URL for the video to our clipboard. We go back to our quiz, and we go to insert edit media. And we can use either the general or the embed tab here. The embed tab's a little more complicated, but you can do things with it that you can't do with the general one. But I'm just going to take the easy way out and just paste that video URL into the source box there. Click OK. And there it is.
Okay, wonderful.
And now I can update the question this time. And so when the student, and save it. So when the student comes to take this test, I'll just preview it here. And read that. Oh, I didn't add the possible answers back, I'm sorry. But they can watch this and then answer and select the answers. You can even do things like insert a question, like I sort of inadvertently did here, that doesn't have any answers. Let me edit the quiz. For a question type, you can add new question, and you can select what's called a text no question question, which basically just gives you the rich content editor. You're not going to put in any possible answers or anything like that, but you can do what I did here. Watch the following video and then answer. Sorry.
And identifying the main claim, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Watch this video and then answer the next 3 questions. Then you embed the video, just like I did a minute ago. Whoop. Lost the link, sorry for the video. Let me go back and get that. Go to the share button, copy the link to the video, go back to Canvas, insert that here. Okay. That's not right. There we go. And then update that question. And now you could put 3 more questions, essay questions, multiple choice questions, anything you like after this. So they'd watch the video and then they'd answer the next 3 questions. So you just got a lot of flexibility in how you generate the test questions in Canvas and what the eventual test looks like. Did that answer your question?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You bet.
Wonderful. Thank you. I will do it today for my students.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. And I've got more. How to make a quiz with questions where you fill in the blank or write the answer. You can add new question. And one of your question types is fill in the blank. So you select that. And it gives you some directions here. Enter your question text, then define all possible correct answers for the blank. Students will see the question followed by a small text box to type their answer. Okay, so
Can you scroll down and show how the grading will occur? So how you make it graded?
how you grade the quiz.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, all you have to do is type your fill in the blank question here. And if you want students to write out an answer, you select an essay question.
Okay.
In an essay question, all you do is type the question text.
Okay.
And the students are automatically provided with a text box or with a rich content editor box to type their answer in for the essay question. So there's no, writing essay questions is the easiest type of question to write. And of course, takes the longest to grade because Canvas will grade objective questions.
Oh.
Multiple choice, well, all of these, multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, fill in multiple blanks, multiple answers, multiple drop downs, matching, numerical answers. All of those are questions that Canvas can grade itself because you can tell Canvas what the right answer is. Students are either picking the right answer out of a list or they're typing in a number and you set the number and the how far off they can be and so on. And Canvas can grade all that.
What about essay question?
Essay questions, it can't grade. So if you have essay questions in a test, Canvas will grade the objective part of the test if there is one, but it will wait for you to grade the essay questions.
Okay.
And I've got an example of that here in another course. Let me pull that up. Let's see, here. Let's see, I think it's in this quiz. Let me check. Make sure I'm right. Show the question details. Yes. Here I have a little quiz with 2 multiple choice questions in it and an essay question. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. And I think I've got some responses to that quiz in this course too. So let me go look. To grade something, I go to the easiest way to do it is to go to the grade book by clicking on the grades link in the course menu. And I just need to find, here's that why screencasting quiz. These have been graded, but I can show you how I did it by just clicking on the, if these had not been graded, what you would see would be this little symbol right here. Okay, indicating that there's something in that quiz that Canvas can't grade. So you'd click on that symbol instead of the number there. There'd be a symbol instead of a number. You click on the symbol and click the right arrow to get to the speed grader here, which is your grading interface in Canvas.
Okay.
And what in a case of a test, the speed grader shows you the student's test submission. And it will show you what they did on the multiple choice questions. In this case, the student got both of those right. And in the case of an essay question, this will be blank. And you have to read the answer and assign a number of points. That's pretty good, but not perfect. So I'll give that a 5 out of 6. And it reminds you how much it's worth, thank goodness. So you just type in the grade for the essay question and then update scores. You only have to do that for the essay questions, but you could override the grade for a multiple choice question too. If there was an error in the question, you wanted to go through everybody's tests and give them credit for that question, you could go through and give them credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the only reason I can think of why you'd override a grade for a multiple choice question, but you can do it. The grade for the overall test is computed by Canvas. Once you enter the grade for the essay question, the grade is computed over here. You can't change that. You have to change it over here if you want to change a grade for a test. Then you can provide comments and submit the change, if any, and then that's reflected in the grade book. So that's how you would grade a test that had an essay, one or more essay questions in it. And that is also covered in one of my broad strokes tutorials that I mentioned before on testing in Canvas. So this tutorial, which is about 7 or 8 minutes long, has that in it as well, if you ever need to go back and review it. And that again is under LMS tutorials, broad strokes, quick Canvas tutorials. That's also in the Canvas site that Online Learning Pathways put up for temporary remote instruction. This thing, this very irritating this one right here. It's hard to miss. That's the idea. If you go in there and tell it your faculty, if you go to the modules, is probably the quickest way to do this. Under faculty resources, here we've got the broad strokes tutorials in here as well. And that's the quickest way to get answers about basic activities in Canvas that I can think of, because those are pared down to where it's just the fact. And try not to provide a lot of options and so on, so you get through those as quickly as possible. So that's a good first place to look. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's everything that's in the chat tool. We've got some more verbal questions for me?
I do.
Good.
You know, earlier when you pushed the button and it was gone. So if you push the button by accident and you lose what you're doing.
Where I saved the quiz without updating the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that all the time, actually.
Yeah, so is there any way to bring it back without having to rebuild it again?
Nope.
Sorry about that. Happened to me many times. Oh.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, just have to do it over again.
Okay.
And I at least in this case, I managed not to exercise my vocabulary. If you all hadn't been online and I did that, I probably would have would have blown off a little steam. Have to be on our best behavior when we're on Zoom, especially when we're recording.
You're recording, yep.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yeah, well, thank you. This is good.
Well, I hope I answered. I hope I helped out some. Remember, you're always welcome to email me with questions too, and I get to those as quick as I can. I'm working on some right now. Somebody sent me one the other day. It was 7 parts. I'm working my way through that, and in some cases, I've had to make tutorials for it and things like that. But if I get a question often enough, I'll make a tutorial and put it online so that it will be available for everybody. Always looking for new ideas for that. So, anything else?
Well, thank you so much, Dave. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. It's always fun to talk to you all.
Okay.
And I'll be back. We've got some more this week. I have to go look and see what I have to do next. But I'll hope to see you again soon. Take care.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.